Today, we're talking about 3 powerful business habits you can use to set yourself up for success going into 2025. The fact that you're watching this means you're the kind of person who has ambition and you want to grow. Growth comes from action and actions come from decisions. So I want you to take a moment and think about how powerful a decision can be. Think about a moment in your life where you made a decision that completely and drastically changed the direction of your life. Big decisions, small decisions, I think it's incredible how they can put us on a completely different path. So I almost want to get you into this video thinking about the kind of decisions that you're capable of making for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're the one in charge of your own life and the way you show up. My first experience with these habits was about 10 years ago. I was attached to a family business I resented, but it had slowly slid into debt for the best part of a decade. But I used these things I'm going to share with you. At the time, I didn't really know what was going to happen. The result was that we blasted out of $250,000 of debt in about 9 months. And that was from a place of standstill with no options. My life changed so much because of that in such a short space of time. And I became fascinated by the power of marketing to change a business and to change the owners' lives. My name is Pat Scrow, and I help people get clients using a first principles approach. Now, over the years, I've seen these repeating patterns with my most successful clients, and I'm going to share them with you. But I didn't always have this information. I had to learn the hard way. So I was traveling in South America. I'll never forget the phone call. My brother was back in Australia. He was running the business. He says, "Pat, we got hacked and they want $100,000. So I don't know if you remember back about 10 years ago, ransomware was a big thing and many businesses were getting attacked and we were one of them. And our whole business came to a screaming halt. We had about 20 staff. We had many systems, tracking, planning. You can imagine it's a full-on business, a brick and mortar business. We had 400 plus square meter showrooms, warehousing. The only thing that wasn't affected was our accounting and our point of sale system. That was in the cloud at the time. But basically everything else, overnight, we were back in the Stone Ages. Now, in hindsight, it was something good that happened out of this. But at the time, it was terrible. It forced me to take an 80-20 view of our entire operation. And it allowed me to fix, really, our biggest problem. See, that business was basically broke. And we'd tried for years to figure out why we couldn't get the business back up to its former glory, not realizing that we had a fundamental problem. And that fundamental problem was we were not communicating to our customer. We weren't getting in front of the right people. And this is the same problem that I see in most businesses now. Most people don't have a capacity problem. They could handle a lot more business. That's not what the business problems that most people have. Most people have the problem, they just simply are not getting in front of enough people. They're not getting enough leads coming in. They're not getting enough eyeballs on their stuff. They have to make decisions based on scarcity instead of based on too much demand. So we figured it out and the rest is history. But there's a handful of habits that I look at now. I look back and remember doing these things. And I still do these things to this day. I've just not realized how impactful they were. I've not realized that my clients who don't do these things, no matter how much information they've got and how much motivation they've got, the fact that they don't do these basic things, they're the ones that struggle. The ones that do have these things built in, they're the ones that they get that momentum. They reach their capacity and we have to change their business a little bit because now they've got money coming in, clients coming in. Before that moment hits, you can tell. You can tell what's been happening under the surface. I'm reminded of that image of a duck. On the surface, you can't tell what the duck's doing. It's just moving like that. But underneath, it's doing this rapidly. And that's kind of what is happening with the business owners who understand this stuff and they get moving. And once you're moving, it's not like you have to do it all the time forever. This is just to get the ball rolling. Number 1 is to build your binge bank every day. Take one action every day towards building your binge bank. What's a binge bank? Well, people stumble into your world. They see a Facebook post, they see an ad. I don't know what you're doing, but people stumble into your world any way possible. And what do? Are they just looking at the latest social posts you put up? Or are you actively giving people stuff to binge? Now, when I speak to people about this, what's your binge bank going to look like? They look at me like I'm crazy. But think about it. You've got values, you've got ethics, you've got ways that you like to do things. You've got industry norms that you actually don't like at all. You've got tons to talk about and tons to share. You maybe even have testimonials, stories of success. You've got a lot to share with the world about who you are, how you handle yourself, and what you think about the service you provide to the marketplace. All this stuff needs to be documented. somehow in a video, in a blog post, in a newsletter. You need to have it somehow prepared so people can find you, binge you, and then fall into your world, get wrapped up in your marketing, and then they end up coming to you asking for help. So this habit is to simply do something every single day that builds your binge bank. I suggest that you do it somewhere that's going to be evergreen, somewhere that's going to have some compounding effect over time. So think about it. Do we go to Facebook all the time and binge someone's content? Maybe not. Maybe if you go to their profile and read, maybe that's how you can binge someone's stuff. But the places I'm thinking of that make a lot more sense are either on your own blog, or either create a YouTube channel, or maybe have like a newsletter like Substack. The second habit, train your marketing brain every day. This is something that I threw myself at with everything I had. And it wasn't because I felt like I was obligated to do so. I became fascinated with how do you get attention from the right people. And this is something that I can't recommend enough. It's a habit I do to this very day. People think that I'm reasonable at copywriting. I don't see myself as a copywriter, but I've just written a lot of words and I can just sort of see stuff. This will happen to you when you start training your marketing brain. Now, you can listen to podcasts, you can consume information just like this, and I recommend you do so to help spark new ideas. But the real training happens just like going to a gym. You can learn as much about the exercises watching on YouTube. Oh, that's the program I've got to do. But you have to actually go and do the exercises. That is what creates the change. So my suggestion comes from the fact that some of the best marketers in the world, responsible for the most incredible volume of sales, these people are also very, very skilled copywriters. Copywriting, it rewires your brain the way you think about solutions, the way you think about communicating, the way you think about giving your ideas to people and helping them see things your way. So I would basically put in place a habit of getting good at copywriting. This could be some kind of copywriting practice. You could do a month of writing headlines. You could do a month of seeing other people's awesome headlines and rewriting them. You could do a month of rewriting people's social posts that have gone viral. You could do a month of spending a minute or two every day writing some email subject lines. There are so many things you can do right now that won't cost you a cent. You just have to do them on a repeated basis. You have to do them enough so that the synapses in your brain start to change and connect in different ways to make you think a different way. When you start doing that, you watch all your marketing start to become way more compelling. People start opening up your emails. They start reading your posts. They start liking stuff and engaging with things. They start consuming more of your content, and your bingeable content just gets way better. If your sales process involves people getting on the phone and talking to you, you'll have these moments where people get on the phone and talk to you and they say, it's great to meet you. I feel like I already know you because I've watched so many hours of your content, or I've read so many of your articles. They will know your way of doing things. They'll probably know your pricing. They already know they want to work with you. So get your marketing brain together. This habit, this is why I started the Growth Accelerator. It's just 10 days and it kickstarts your marketing development like nothing else. And the final habit is to track something every day. When we got hit by ransomware, we had serious tracking systems in place to track everything. The reason why we did that in hindsight, because we didn't really know what the most important ones were. Now, it's very simple. There are only a handful of metrics that you can keep an eye on that you can know your business is going in the right direction. So if you're not sure what to track, do the LMS, leads, meetings, sales. Every day, how many leads came into your system, into your world? Every day, how many meetings or conversations? How many times did you interact with a potential customer? And sales is pretty obvious. How many times did the cash register go cha-ching? Write that number down. You track those numbers every day, and over the course of a week and a month, you'll be able to have a great indication of where your business is at, where the money is coming in, where it's not coming in, and where the problem actually is. Leads, meetings, sales. So simple. Now, at first, that's going to be a little bit tough to track those numbers because you might not be getting any sales at all. You might not be having any actual phone calls with people. You might not be meeting with anybody at all. Maybe you're not getting any leads either. But start tracking them. It'll focus your mind on the things you need to get done to get the first thing happening. When I was preparing for this video, I wrote these ideas down and I hesitated because these seem so simple. These seem so simple, so easy. And I feel that people come to YouTube videos wanting to get like some glory from the sky that's going to change their world in an instant. And things can change in an instant. The direction you're going can change overnight. It can change with one simple decision. But these habits, these lifelong habits that you develop, that we carry with us, these separate the people who are successful over and over and over again and the ones who just hit it lucky once, or the ones that seem to struggle for years and years. So take these habits. I hope they serve you well. Now, if you're curious about the Growth Accelerator, just add your name to the waitlist below. You'll get the information sent to you. Otherwise, this next video is about achieving difficult things. It explains my simple alternative to goal setting. I'll see you in the next video.